Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Rêverie L.76 by Debussy, published in 1891. And I just wanted to read a little quote about this piece by Debussy himself. It said, "You are wrong to publish the Rêverie. It is a thing of no importance, dashed down as a service to Hartmann. In a word, it is poor." So how's that for selling you on wanting to learn this piece? However, this is one of my favorite Debussy pieces. I love it. And it's one of my favorite Debussy pieces to start students with because it is very easy to listen to. First of all, I don't know of any audience member who doesn't love this piece or at least finds it very calming and relaxing. It helps students to learn this idea of color in music, how to blend tones, how to create different shades and textures. It really forces a student to create magic with their voicing and their phrasing. And it also introduces students very naturally to the idea of rubato, which is the pushing and pulling of time. This piece seems like it almost pushes and pulls itself. I know that sounds very generic, but it's not as difficult to put rubato into this as it would be to manipulate time in something like a Chopin mazurka, which can be very intricate. So for all of those reasons, I love this piece. Let me go ahead and play just a bit of this, a few bars, and then we'll get started on all the concepts that we're going to be going over, such as creating that color. How do we get a softer touch? What should we be doing with pedaling? How often or how little should we be pedaling in this piece? How do we get that melody to sing out? What are some ideas for shaping that melody? So let's go ahead and get started. I could keep going. It's just so much fun to play. But let's stop there. The first thing that I want to talk about is to get a good edition. In some of the early editions, some of the ties are not present. So this is the Henle Urtext edition. So tie, tie, tie. Right there, in some editions I've seen to replay that, and it would completely botch the pattern right there. So make sure that you are tying all of those. And Debussy writes to hold those throughout the measure. And you might think, well, what does that have to do with anything? Because I'm going to be pedaling that anyway. And you would be correct. You could get away with not holding it. But what I think it does is it grounds the hand. It stabilizes the hand. And this is something that I want to talk about right off the bat, is making sure that the hand is very loose and relaxed. You can stroke back. Maybe for that thumb, push it back in a little bit, since it's a shorter finger. And just see what kind of atmosphere you can create. I do have my far left pedal down, the una corda pedal. What that does, for those of you who might just be beginners and don't really know the functions of all the pedals, it's moving. You'll be able to see this on the overhead shot. It's moving the hammers, it's moving the action over so that you're only going to be hitting two of those strings. Additionally, you're only going to be hitting felt that probably hasn't been hit a bunch of different times, because as you play the piano more and more and more, the hammers start to get imprints of the strings in them, and that starts to become hardened and compressed, which gives you a brighter sound. But as you shift it over, you're most likely going to be playing on portions of that felt that haven't been beat to death by being played a million times. So you can get that really soft, velvety texture. However, that comes with its own set of issues. If a student just plays normally in the right hand, it will completely be covered and it'll just kind of be a mushy, beautiful but mushy mess. So make sure that you play extra loud in the right hand as you come out right there. Also to set up for a nice diminuendo. More or less, that's like a little sigh. More, and then getting less to there. Okay, let's talk about how to do 3 against 4. This is the easiest way that I've learned to teach students, and I have experimented with so many ways over the last 18 years of teaching. I started teaching when I was 15, and I'm 33 now. And I have beat my head against the wall for a solid hour with some students, and other students get it in a matter of minutes. It does depend somewhat on the student, but it's also on how you teach it. Okay, when you have 4 against 3, the first notes come together, and then whichever hand has the 4, that hand is going to come first, and it's just going to alternate with the other hand. However, it's not just a straight together, right, left, right, or sorry, in this case, the left hand has the four notes against the 3 notes in the right hand. So it's not together, left, right, left, right, left. It's not just even. You have to do it in a particular way. Now, my first teacher taught me with this catchy little phrase, and I got it right away. So I thought it would work for all students. It doesn't. She had me say, "Come, Tommy, jump to me. Come, Tommy, jump to me." Now you might be thinking, Josh, you're playing that B flat. It's supposed to be tied. Go ahead and play it while you're working on this polyrhythm, the 3 against 4. Come, Tommy, jump to me. Okay? That works for some students. However, I've found that numbers help students even, it's even more basic, because some people will say, come, Tommy, jump to me, and they don't really get the inflection. This is how you do it. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay? And I'm purposely clapping very softly so I don't distort this mic. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay? 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 together. And you should actually end it with that. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and clap and count that a bunch of times. Stop the video. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And that will help you. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Okay, now you have to make sure that you're doing that in the tempo. So as you're going, if this is your tempo, you've got a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The left hand is your best friend for making sure you continue in the same tempo, because whatever your tempo is here, it has to continue in this left hand. Obviously, that's terrible voicing, but you can hear the left hand is continuing. So that's how you approach that 3 against 4, okay? Again, let's try this with some phrasing. More or less, crescendo to there, and then diminuendo down to there. Really should pretty much evaporate there. Okay, now pedaling. I have held that same pedal this entire time. Because we kind of have that same drone cycling figure in the left hand, and we're up in a high enough register, the blending is quite desirable. If it was down here, it'd get way too muddy. But since it's up here, it gets less muddy. Okay, it's more blended in a pleasing way rather than blended in a muddy way. I would change your pedal when you get to bar 7 though. Change here. Change. Change. And change. Change. That's an option. Changing again in 10 because of that rest that Debussy writes. Change. This is without a change. It sounds fine. He wrote that in to indicate that the right hand comes in later. Did he mean it as an actual rest where he wants silence? We don't really know. I think that it could go either way. I think you're fine to just hold it personally. 9 into 10. And just let that blend. When you're playing soft, and I've addressed